So let me ask you guys a question, right? Whenever you guys think of ordering food from outside, right, what generally comes to your mind? Let's say we're sitting together right now, right? COVID is not there, right? And we guys think that, okay, let's order something. What comes to your mind at the beginning? Is it pizza? Right? I can bet for 7 out of 10 of you guys, right? Whether we order pizza or no is not the question, but it definitely comes in your mind when we think of food delivery. That's the status of majority of the people in the world, not just India, right? So the question is, how did this happen? At least for Indians, right? How is it that one of the first few things that come to our mind for home delivery is pizza, right? So today's case study is going to be on how one of the giants of the world, right? The company with the blue and red logo that you think of majority of the times when you order food, how did they get us to habitualize the thinking of food delivery equals Domino's? So let me get right into it, right? The Indian pizza market is worth $1.5 billion. That's over 10,000 crore rupees per year of pizzas in India, right? And if I have to ask any of you guys, see, I know there would be people who probably despise Domino's, not their first choice. I agree, but you have to respect the company for doing what it's done with respect to its brand. So let me ask you all this: which is the #1 pizza chain in India? Domino's. Which are the other ones that come to mind when you talk about pizza? At least chains, right? There'll be Pizza Hut, there's Papa John's, and then there are many more. But Domino's, by far, exceeds them all, right? There's Smoking Joe's, and I'm sure there are a few more which everybody would know. How did Domino's dominate the Indian consumer mindset when it comes to not just pizza, but even home delivery? So think about it, right? Now, back in 1995, right? This was probably before some of you guys were even born. Domino's had entered India through a company called Jubilant FoodWorks. I'll get into that later. Now, when it entered India, pizza was sort of a novel concept, and more importantly was home delivery. If you guys remember 10 years ago, maybe even more, when you might have ordered food for your family from home, you would have probably called up on the taken your landline, seen, I don't know if you guys have those phone diaries, right? You find the name of the restaurant number, you dial their landline number. Domino's probably back then also, you would have to call. They'll put in your landline number, they'll get your address, then they'll take the order. You'll ask them, what's the menu, what's new, what's XYZ. You'll place the order, click, and they'll come, right? But in 1995, none of this, by the way, was a thing. Right? It was very rare. People would only think of going out to eat, or they would eat home food. Home delivery was not a big deal, and pizza was even rare to the point where people didn't know what pizza was. In India, in a huge chunk of India today, pizza is still synonymous with Domino's, just the way, noodles is with Maggi, or chocolate is with Cadbury, right? So these are the brands which have really done something right. So Domino's is one of them, right? So what happened? So in 95, when they entered, they said, okay, we've got to strategize in a way to win the Indian mindset. And this is what they've done. Step number 1, they decided to localize the flavors to the Indian market. Localize the Indian flavors. Now, you must have had these peppy, paneer, and all these, if you order these from Domino's, they're not found across the globe. They're made specifically for India. And now localizing something to fit the palate of the local geography seems obvious. But please understand, again, back in the day, this was not common. They were really taking an innovative step, and that was one of the first biggest sort of best moves they made to say that, okay, we're going to win the Indian mindset. Number 2, one of the most popular marketing campaigns that I can think of, and I'm sure no matter what your age is, you've heard about this, you've been a part of it, is the 30-minute of free delivery. Guys, when Domino's introduced 30 minutes of free delivery, it broke the market, right? It was one of the most innovative moves, one of the most innovative campaigns, one of the best marketing tactics, and the best part is they delivered on it. Imagine you come to a point where you say that, okay guys, I'm going to order food. In 30 minutes, I'm going to have it hot and fresh in my house. That was unheard of, right? Unless obviously the restaurant you ordered was like down the street where you stay. Domino's thought and said, you know what, we are going to deliver. The minute somebody thinks of eating food from the outside, we will be the fastest to reach them, right? And that's what they did. 30 minutes of free was unprecedented, right? It became one of the most commonly spoken about things when people thought of food. It became such a win that it had never been seen, and they were delivering it. People were not able to understand how they did it, but they did it, and they did it so well that now it's become common, right? But they were the ones who innovated it. They're the ones who started. There were ads when it's pouring and people are like thinking, oh, now it's too much of traffic, let me call for Domino's, because they won't deliver in 30 minutes. And then in the ad, after 30 minutes, that guy shows up at the door and the main guy's like, oh my God, like even in this they deliver. And that was the whole point, that guys, don't think, if you think of food, think of Domino's. We'll be there in 30 minutes, hot, fresh, ready. If not, no money taken from us. Super strategy to make them really to sort of resonate with the Indian mentality, right? And 30 minutes of free, guys, free as a word for any price sensitive market. If you can incentivize people with the word free and then deliver on it, oh my God, it's a hit. So that's the second strategy that Domino's sort of attracted the whole world with. Then the third one was their technology presence. See, again, with food tech coming into play now, having apps and ordering food online is obviously becoming common. But again, it was not so till very recently. In fact, for so many of y'all, you must be remembering that less than 3 years or 4 years ago, y'all wouldn't order as commonly on Swiggy and Zomato as you are doing today. Before Zomato or Swiggy came up, Domino's knew that technology is the way forward, and they were the ones who had come up with their website for ordering online. They're the ones who came up with their app. It's really a testament to how sort of forward-looking they are in knowing where the world is heading and where they should be. They should not be left behind the curve. So technology, having their app, understanding how to order pizzas, visualize the pizza on your mobile screen, on the web screen, all this was thought of Domino's long time back, which kept them ahead of the game. Fourth, infrastructure. Now, restaurants generally, if you're a chain, you give franchisees, you have a lot of sort of outlets spread across the city or the country, hoping that whenever people think of you, you're in their vicinity, you're in sort of traveling distance to go to that restaurant. Domino's flipped the infrastructure in a way that they said, good, you know what, we don't really want too much of a dine-in experience. What we'll do is, let's have small sort of outlets which have kitchens where anytime anybody calls us, right, we are in distance to go to their house and deliver. And they created an entire fleet of two-wheelers, which again, guys, now it's very common because you see tens of thousands of Swiggy and Zomato, employees with their uniform, and it's common. But back then, again, this was not common, which is the reason why when they took India by storm, right? So they said that, okay, we'll have a whole fleet anytime, no matter whether you stay in Bandra, whether you stay in Andheri, whether you stay at Colaba, we will be close enough that you think of us, we are in a position to make the pizza in a couple of minutes and deliver it in less than half an hour with our fleet. That infrastructure has done what, imagine, I'll tell you one more case study within this case study, right? Swiggy. When Swiggy decided that it was going to dominate the food delivery space, they basically rendered all the existing restaurants' infrastructure of delivery void. What I mean is, imagine there were some restaurants which had some people just for delivery because they were relatively popular before Swiggy, because people would call and say, okay, deliver. So they would need to have, their own people who would deliver to different places, right? When Swiggy came, all these restaurants had no use of these people because Swiggy was taking care of that now, right? Now, for Domino, right, for most of the restaurants, by the way, that would have been okay. Like, they're laying off, they are paying less salary to now people, they don't have to worry about delivery. Swiggy's taking care of all of that. But for Domino's, this would be a huge hit on their infrastructure because They had so many Domino's two-wheelers on their balance sheet that it would be very difficult to write this off. It would be very difficult to just say, okay, fine, Swiggy is there, let's discard all of our inventory. It was going to be a nightmare. Again, being innovative, being at the forefront, even at this time, which was as recent as Swiggy, right? Less than 10 years ago, they said, guys, we are going to partner with Swiggy in a way that if a customer, let's say if I order Domino's on Swiggy, right? Ideally, for every other restaurant, Swiggy's delivery boy would go there. Only for Domino's, Swiggy has to ensure that that order is given to Domino's and Domino's delivery boy comes to us. That is genuinely, it shows the level of being at the top of the food industry that Domino's is, right? Even a behemoth like Swiggy could not say that, okay, we can't tell Domino's that get lost, either do what we want or, sorry, which they can do with a lot of restaurants. But Domino's, they had to meet them because they know how much of a demand Domino's has. And if Swiggy doesn't have Domino's on its app, Swiggy would lose money. People would still order Domino's. That's how popular Domino's is, right? Fifth, as recently as 2015, Domino's had signed up a deal with IRCTC, which I'm guessing most of you all would know is the Indian, think of IRCTC as the Indian Railway, right? They are the sort of monopoly over there. Domino's has tied up with them in such a way because they understand that majority of the Indian population travels by train. People get hungry. Instead of having the basics which they have of all the pavadas and samosas and all of that, right, which is common, they said, let us give them something more. Let us get them excited that whenever they are hungry, on the next station, there will be a Domino's stall. They will get hot, fresh pizzas whenever they or their family feels hungry. Right? And people went berserk because it's not commonly found. And imagine getting really tasty, good food anywhere in the middle of your long journey. Right? And 6, with COVID, they were still so ready. They understood before most people understood that COVID is going to be a problem. People are going to order less. They are going to be worried. So they quickly came up with the contactless, delivery and keeping everything completely healthy and fresh and sanitized and secure. So, of course, everyone did it. Everyone did it obviously quickly. But Domino's was again relatively the first, one of the first few restaurants who did it as a mandate and marketed it. When you combine such factors, right? Domino's from 95 till even today are always trying to stay at the top of the game, whether it is marketing, whether it is flavors, whether it is infrastructure and technology. They're just not ready to back down, and that's what makes them so powerful. If you have gone, anywhere you travel, right, whether it's a mall, whether it's a movie complex, whether it is just on the road, you've got to see so many, whether it's, and by the way, Domino's, on similar lines, McDonald's, Subway, they've all done similar things, right? Just that this case study is on Domino's. But it's imprinted in our minds so strongly that for Domino's, India has become the second largest market. Right? It's not that easy to get this on. Now think about this. Pizza Hut also came in 95, same as Domino's. But Pizza Hut decided to focus on the restaurant experience. When they did this, Pizza Hut, till today, Pizza Hut global's revenue from India is 1%. Whereas for Domino's, India is the second largest market. Right? Domino's has 70% market share of pizza home delivering compared to for entire India. 30% is split between whether you want to take all chains like Smoking Joe's and Papa John's, or you want to take boutique restaurants which have amazing pizzas. So when you understand how brilliantly this company has performed, it becomes one of the role models for innovative companies having done brilliant marketing. Whenever you guys are thinking about which company to look forward to understand how well they are keeping up with today's generation, think of Domino's. Just a few quick things about Domino's for you guys to understand. Domino's when it was introduced in India, it was not the Domino's parent, the global company which entered. There was a company called Jubilant FoodWorks, which took the franchise of Domino's in India, and they uh, basically had rights to to the Domino's brand name for entire India. Jubilant has actually introduced a Domino's to India. It also has companies such as Dunkin' Donuts in its portfolio, but Dunkin' Donuts honestly came a little late. Number one in India, it's super popular abroad, but it came a little late in India. It also had different competitors already, such as for donuts, obviously there's MOD and kinds. For coffee and all, there's Starbucks. So Dunkin' Donuts has not performed as well. But just for you guys to know that, Jubilant is not a one-time hit. It really is trying to make some changes with the food experience in India, and it's performed extraordinarily well with Domino's. So I think this is about it for today's case study. If you guys have any other suggestion what case studies we should do, please let us know. I hope you'll really like this. I would like to thank Rashesh, one of my students, who's really helped me with in-depth research of these case studies. And yep, I'll see you guys in the next video.